and Environmental Health to a proposed 10 for the front garden area of Flat A, 27 Tavistock Road, London, W11 1AS. I'm Councillor Janet Evans, and I will be chairing this meeting. It is being held via Microsoft Teams, and it is also being streamed live. I confirm I have no declarations of interest to make in relation to this item. I am joined by Councillor Laura Burns and Councillor Abdullahi Noor. Councillors, can you please introduce yourself and confirm whether or not you have any declarations to make?
I'm Councillor Burns and I have no declarations. Thank you.
Good morning all. I'm Councillor Abdullahi Noor. I have no interest to declare on this application.
We are also joined remotely by Paul Phelan from the Council's licensing team, our legal advisor, Lindsay Lemasurier, our committee officers, Holly Weaver and Nima Mahudin, who will be monitoring our connections and help with any technical issues we may have. Before we start the hearing, here are a few ground rules. Please make your microphones on mute until you are invited to speak. Please make sure mobile phones are on silent until you are invited. Just make sure they're on silent, sorry. Please keep your cameras off unless you are speaking to avoid connection problems. Please note that the Microsoft Teams chat function is not monitored, so please do not use it. As this is a public meeting, please ensure your microphones are on mute when you are not speaking. Everyone should have received the procedure for the meeting regarding the use of cameras and how to connect back in if you lose connection. Thank you. Is that clear, everybody?
Clear, Chair.
Good. Holly, can you please run through the list of the persons wishing to speak today?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So the people we have in attendance today, Awenta Araya and Nathan Hines on behalf of the premises. Mr. Ndemera is also on the call and hope you'll be able to respond to any questions if needed. We also have PC Mark Perry and Julian Trill from the Metropolitan Police and RBK's Noise and Nuisance team respectively, who may be able to contribute at any point. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the quorum of this meeting is 2. As there is always the possibility that I may lose connection temporarily during the broadcast, I am nominating Councillor Burns to be appointed as the substitute chair. Councillor Noor, please confirm whether you second this nomination.
I'm happy to second the chair.
Thank you. I confirm that Councillor Burns has been appointed substitute chair. Now, the procedure of the meeting has been circulated with the papers. However, in summary, I confirm. Firstly, the licensing officer will give a brief outline of the 10. Then I will ask the premises user, Mr. Ndima, to present his submission. He will have up to a maximum of 10 minutes to do so. He is joined by Mr. Nathan Hines and Awenta Araya. Questions may then be asked of the premises user by the committee, the police, environmental health, and our legal officer. Then I will ask the police, Mr. Parry, to present his objection. He will have up to a maximum of 10 minutes to do so. Questions may then be asked of the police by the committee, Mr. Ndima and environmental health, and our legal officer. Then I will ask environmental health, Mr. Julian Trill will present his objection. He will have up to a maximum of 10 minutes to do so. Questions may then be asked of environmental health by the committee, Mr. Ndima and the police and our legal officer. Finally, I will turn to the government's team to see if any issues have been raised that we need to consider. There will be no summing up, and the committee will then adjourn for 15 minutes to make our decision. We will reconvene to verbally announce the decision today, and it will then be confirmed in writing within 5 working days. The full reasoned decision will be issued as soon as possible thereafter. I would like to remind everyone that the committee has read the papers, which comprise the main pack, and the additional submissions from the police and Mr. Nadima there is no need to repeat their content. But please do draw our attention to certain points and pages, and government will move the document on the screen for us. Let's get going. I think, Holly, if you could put up the map, please. Just for clarity.
Absolutely, we'll put it up now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and where is the application? Where's the junction? Is that where it says 4A? No. Well, perhaps Mr. Phelan will show us. Mr. Phelan, can you outline, is it marked now? Okay, Mr. Phelan, are you able to show us?
Certainly, Chair. So it's just on the Tavistock Road. There may be a more at page, bear with me, of the main body of the report. There might be a more sort of visible plan in that sense. Page 39 of the report bundle would have a precise area. Maybe if we can have that report up, Holly, if that's possible.
Yeah, I'll put that one up now.
39,
Thank you.
That will indicate the precise area.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
So it's along the Tavistock Road, is that correct?
That's correct, Chair. 27 Tavistock Road.
Okay. Mr. Freeland, please can you outline the 10 for us?
Chair, members of the subcommittee, good morning. The subcommittee is asked to consider objections to a temporary event notice submitted by Mr. Innocent Ndima to use the forecourt area of 27 Tavistock Road, London, W11 1AS. The 10 seeks permission for the sale by retail of alcohol, both on and off the premises. Mr. Ndima is proposing to use the forecourt area of 27 Tavistock Road to provide sales of alcohol both on and off the premises during Notting Hill Carnival between the hours of midday and 7 p.m. on Sunday the 24th and Monday the 25th of August 2025. For reference, Chair, a copy of the temporary event notice, site plan, risk assessment and event management plan are attached as Appendix A. The temporary event notice submitted by Mr. Ndima has attracted a representation from both PC Mark Perry on behalf of the Metropolitan Police and Mr. Philip Richardson on behalf of Environmental Health, Noise and Nuisance. PC Perry has submitted an objection on the grounds of public safety and the prevention of crime and disorder. A copy of PC Perry's representation is attached as Appendix B. Mr. Richardson has also submitted an objection on the grounds of the prevention of public nuisance and public safety. A copy of Mr. Richardson's representation is attached as Appendix C. Relevant extracts from the Council's statement of licensing policy are attached as Appendix D. A map of the 2024 Carnival footprint indicating the parade route, location of sound systems, bars, streets, trading sites, safe areas and other matters is attached as Appendix G. For clarity, Chair, this map is for illustrative purposes only, as a map for 2025 is yet to be finalised. A list of temporary event notices received so far for this year's Carnival is attached as Appendix H. This list excludes notices which have been withdrawn or issued a counter notice. Some of these notices may still be under consultation, Chair. Finally, the following additional documents were circulated ahead of today's hearing. Number one being additional evidence from the police, which refers to 3 BBC News articles. The second being 4 pieces of additional evidence from the premises user, namely a risk assessment and event management plan, a copy of an invoice for professional security services, a written response to the objection raised by PC Mark Perry, and a written response to the objection raised by the noise and nuisance team. You will now hear from the premises user and those who have made representations. I am happy to provide any further clarification as required. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Now for the premises users case. Mr. Nadima, are you able to speak? Hello?
Janet, I think Wenter's going to speak on his behalf.
I think
Okay,
as far as I'm aware.
but I need a better volume, please, on that. Can you speak into the mic or?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Not really.
No, not really.
Yeah, I'm using the laptop. Shall I talk a bit louder? Is that okay now?
It's better. Yeah.
I'll try and speak as loud as I can without disturbing the other offices. Hi. Just to give a summary, I just wanted to start by saying we did have a temporary events notice last year, which was accepted. Everything did go smoothly. We had no problems, no issues. It was a great turnout. The main thing that we as a family do is slush. So we do Caribbean inspired slush flavors. The slush flavors are without alcohol. So the alcohol is a choice of whether people want to add the alcohol or not. Sorry, I'm just trying to just get it all in. So we submitted the same application as last year, this year, and there was some objections in regards to safety and crowd management. And I did speak to PC Mark Perry in regards to that, and I did put forward to him that we were willing to hire security officers, which we have added an invoice for that, which could help us with the crowd management. We had no issues with crowd management last year, and we was able to handle it perfectly fine. There was no incidents, no problems, and no issues. We had a lot of the neighbours come out and help us. We've been living, well, my uncle's been living within the carnival section for years, so it is nice to be able to take part in carnival rather than just watching it happen on the road. So it is really nice. We have family that fly in every year that come and stay with us during the carnival period. So it is family based. We have already, another thing, I don't know if you could take this into consideration or not, as our TENS notice did get accepted last year, we had already started buying the slush flavors because we was quite sure that it was going to be accepted as it was accepted last year. So the financial strain of it, if it does get objected, is going to put us back, and it's not really anything that we would be able to get a refund on. But going into the safety of it all, we have submitted a new events plan and a risk management with the objections that the police and the noise and nuisance team have put forward. I don't know if you want me to run through the adjustments that we've made, or has that already been sent in?
I think it's helpful if you can summarize them point by point quickly.
Okay, so we said that we would have contactless payments, cashless payments, sorry. So it will all be made contactless, which will reduce the queues and the build up. We have said that if at any point it does get too much or the queues do get too big, we will put a pause on the sales. We have got ticket books so that everyone can have a ticket instead of just queuing up. So that will minimize, people pushing in or any issues like that. we have put in, like I said, a invoice of 3 security SA approved security guards, which we can have 1 in the garden and 2 on the outside just to manage the queues. CCTV, we did have CCTV last year and we had the signs, so everything was GDPR approved. So we could have that just to minimize and hopefully, obviously, that would deter any sort of incidents happening. Waste and hygiene, we made sure that we was cleaning as we was going along, so there was no mess or anything. Noise management, we don't have any speakers, so we will not be playing no noise. Don't know if I said no one would be able to go into the front garden, so the front garden is going to be exclusively for us, and we are going to have barriers so no one can come in or out. I think I've covered everything. I've tried my best to. Yeah, I think overall it's just to put forward. It's not a large scaled event. It is very small. It is family run. It's nice for the neighbours to come. Last year, I think it was really hot. I think it was on Monday, so we was handing out a lot of slush to children, which everyone that comes can't afford the prices of some of the things that are sold in Carnival, because some of the prices are ridiculous. So it was nice to be able to just give back as well to the community and be able to just share with our neighbours as well. We are willing to even take down the times if the police will feel more comfortable with us not trading for so long. Another thing we wanted to put forward is even maybe if we trade from 12 till 5 or just before Carnival is closing, so that there's no rush of people coming in and out. Yeah, so we're willing to make adjustments if this doesn't get objected. I think I've covered everything. Thank you for hearing us, and thank you for listening, and thank you for taking the time out today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hines, are you making a presentation or are you just there to answer questions?
No, I'm ready to make a presentation to you, Mrs. Evans.
Okay.
Mrs. Evans, good afternoon. First thing, and thanks for taking the time out to listen to us. My cousin says, we're gonna have CCTV camera, we're gonna have security, we're gonna have barriers, we're gonna control the traffic, because I know Tavistock Road is a road that they've got 2 sound systems on one top of the road, and they've got a sound system on the other side of the road. And I know where the train station is. So basically, we're not gonna trade. We know how to trade, and we're gonna have access for people so they can walk straight through. We're going to make sure that there's no traffic, is holding up traffic. We give free things away. This is Mrs. Evans, this is like a family history cultural event that we don't like trouble. We have anti-knife crime signs. We give free stuff to the kids. We make people feel delightful and happy in their self, right? And we full enjoy the energy, and it brings back like memories from slavery time and roots and tradition. But we understand the impact what the young generation is going through today. They are trying to something is wrong with them. But so sometimes we talk to these kids, we give them juice, we talk to them, and try and make them understand it, and make them know that they have to change their life, because a lot of these young kids have got too much energy, like the ADHD, and they don't listen. So we're always there as people who as a respect, as elders for the older generation, that we try to show the younger generation you can do something good with your life. You can open a business, you can do something. We talk, we speak to them at the same time while we're serving. And the main point is now we're going to have click and go. So people we'll have 2 barriers 3 security guards, we'll have CCTV, we'll have everything in order. So no, we're not holding up no traffic. We will close an hour before carnival because so people can go to the train station and go to their house. Because where we're located is there is the beginning of carnival and the end of carnival. It's the entrance of Notting Hill Carnival. So like people don't come. We're not in the middle of carnival like it's really like people can buy it and get drunk, and people just come there, buy the one soft drink, and they go straight to the carnival because we're on the edge of the beginning of carnival, Mrs. Evans. But we're delighted just so you can understand where we're coming from with this, because it's a generational thing, and we really haven't got a lot of stuff left for the culture. So it's very heartbreaking and it's very hurtful to have to go through all this. But we want to do anything safe to make everybody feel safe and make everybody feel comfortable. And we can lock up early. We can make people walk, give them their drinks, and they go. And we've got all the traffic under control, Mrs. Evans. That's all I wanted to put forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'll ask some my committee if they have any questions. Councillor Byrne.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much, Winter and Nathan. So can we put page 14 up just so we have a map of the front yard? Because I wanna get a better understanding of where everything's going to be, how it's going to, the daily workings of it. So I don't know who's better to answer that, maybe Winter or maybe Nathan. I don't know.
Yes, so I did want to put forward pictures from last year. I just didn't have time to do that this morning, and I should have. If we can submit any evidence after this phone call, I am happy to submit an evidence of how the whole setup is, the tent, and how we managed to fit everything in. It is very colourful, it's very nice, and it might be helpful for you to get an understanding.
If Holly, can you put page 14 up of the pack? Because then at least we have the picture and you can describe where things will go. So, you know, where would the slushy machines go, and where does the security go, and how is it served, things like that. If you can just give me a bit more detail of that, please.
So where the bench is, we would put a table there, and that's how we would serve the drinks over to the customers. The black, it looks like a bin on the left-hand side. We would put a steady wood block there, and we would put the slushes on top. So, and then we would put like a marquee on top of everything, and yeah, so that's how it goes. And then the security guard will be on the other side of the gates. So we'd have 2 on the other side of the gates, 1 on the inside, and we would have the barriers going on the other side of the customers, so it's blocked off.
The barriers is so the people can form a queue, like in the street. Is that what you mean? So is the railing where you're serving, like over the railing, and then there's a queuing system there, and then there's a barrier? So is it the whole pavement?
No, it wouldn't need to be the whole pavement. It'll probably be about half of the pavement. We don't need to take the whole pavement. We don't. Last year we never took the whole pavement. We just had the queue going down, and it was like single or double people. It wasn't ever flowing onto the roads or wasn't taking up the full pavement. Like I said, we're more than happy to. We have videos, we have pictures from last year. We're more than happy to submit that, just so you can get an understanding and see how it was last year. Maybe that will help.
I don't think, we cannot submit evidence now.
Yeah, if you want me to just jump in here, obviously the opportunity to
Please.
submit evidence was prior to the hearing, unless all the parties agree at the hearing. And also you can't amend the application prior to the hearing. So it's either all or nothing now. Anytime in the run up to the hearing you can, but not at the hearing. I mean, unless the police or Mr. Chul have any objections, I don't know if you're even able to put the photograph on the screen right now, because it won't be much use after the hearing. You able to, firstly, are you able to put the photo on the screen now? And secondly, do Mr. Trill and PC Perry object to a photo at this late stage?
Certainly not. That's fine.
Mr.
No
Carroll?
objection. No objection from me.
Okay,
No,
fine.
it would be very helpful.
Yeah, Wynter, are you able to do that now?
Yeah, I'm just going through.
Thank you.
What shall I wait for you to do that before I ask any other questions? How about that? Yes, take your time.
Okay, sorry. Okay, pressure. Just going back through all of my pictures. You know, we like to take loads of photos, so. I'm just gonna email it in.
What I'll do, Wynter, I'll put the best email for you to share it with for us in the chat, and then I can put it on the screen if that would be helpful.
Yes, please.
And then I'll ask a couple of questions. Once you've sent that, whilst Holly is preparing it, I've got still a couple of questions. So tell me when you're ready to do that.
Sending it over right now. We haven't got the best eyesight. Sent over one picture. This is another one. Have the pictures come through?
So it's just a meeting. Yes, the first one's come through. I'm just going to save it and I'll be able to put it up on the screen. So I imagine the other one will be through any second.
Okay, so whilst that's happening, can you give me a bit more detail on the slushes themselves? How many different ones you have setting? And you said it was optional, so it would be.
You're breaking up, right? Laura. Laura, you're breaking up.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the slush machines, how many different flavors are there?
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different flavors.
Okay.
The slush is made without alcohol. So
yeah.
The alcohol is and it's an addition. So if anybody, because obviously we'll be selling to children, so we don't make the slushes with alcohol, pre with alcohol. So it's an additional shot that if anyone wants to add in with their alcohol, then they can. The slushes are Caribbean inspired, so we do pina colada but without the alcohol. We do mojitos without the alcohol, so it's all kind of cocktails and Caribbean inspired. And then if people would like to add the alcohol with it, then they do. We sell flags, Caribbean flags, different country flags. We have horns, we have whistles. Trying to think what else. Yeah.
And just back to the alcohol, what alcohol provisions will you have? How many options will there be? Or is it like a full bar? Or is it just
no, it's not a full bar, it's just rum that we have. So everything is kind of just Caribbean. We try to keep it just Caribbean culture, so just rum, and that's it. Rum and maybe vodka.
Okay.
That we don't. It's not a full bar that we have. We don't have it.
Fine. Okay. And how are you serving these beverages? Are they? What's the containers? Are they plastic? Are they what fabric is it?
So last year we had plastic. This year we've got paper because we're trying to not do the we're trying to be environmental friendly. So we've got paper cups this year.
Okay.
Just to keep everything environmentally friendly.
Okay, I'm just having a picture that's up there. It looks cool.
Try to make it as vibrant as possible.
What are all those like bottles along the just above the flags? Like,
okay, so
what is
we also we also had an ice cone. We also sold ice cone, which is just ice, crushed ice, and then you can have the selection of putting flavor on top. So like strawberry syrup, raspberry, blue raspberry, mango, lime, and that doesn't involve any alcohol because you can't add that because it's just literally crushed ice with flavored syrup on top.
like a snow cone?
A
Okay.
snow cone. There we go. Yeah, sorry, my mind's just gone blank.
Okay, so, and then I have just one more at the moment. The road behind you. So in the original picture, is that road closed off during Carnival? Because there's a stall at one end and there's the floats right at the other end. So your street is like coming right through the middle of quite a lot of action, obviously. So is that road closed off totally, or will it still be a usable road?
So we have the floats that are going that way, and then we're on this road. Are you talking about the road behind us?
So yes, I think so. There's a stall on the corner of like Tavistock and Basing. What is it called? Basing. Wait, 1 second. Let me get my map back up. So yeah, Basing Street is on the corner of like Tavistock Road on the, if you're looking out of your house on the left-hand side. And then obviously if you go right to the other end of Tavistock Road to like Great Western Road is where the floats go. So on the Basing and Tavistock corner area, there's usually stalls, right? Or some kind of stalls there. Is that right?
Is that where the food stalls are? Sorry, my bearings are quite bad. Can I get the map up?
Let me intervene. Very clear. I know where you're talking. So at the top of the road, you've got Westbourne Park Station, and that's Tavistock Road in the middle. We're on 27. So when you come to the end of Burnham Road, there's some toilet, there's a pub on the corner, and then when they down, you're on Portobello Road, main road of Notting Hill Carnival. So everybody that's going home and coming into Carnival, they have to come through Westbourne Park, or the other side is Ladbroke Grove, or the other side is Holland Park Road.
Yeah. So I just want to know, is your street, Tavistock Road, like all like blocked off? So it's only
no, it's not blocked off. The roads off Tavistock Road are blocked off, and the one near on the park. If you're with me now and you walk down Tavistock Road, the first right, you will see that there's toilets there and there's a little park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go on the left-hand side of that, there's a pub on the corner.
Yeah.
And if you go straight down now, there's 1 and 2 little food stalls on there that they sell food along the right-hand side where you're talking about.
Yeah. So I just want to get clarification of like how if there's traffic coming through that street, or if it, obviously sometimes there's access to park and stuff, but
it's busy. It can get busy in the morning at 12 o'clock because people is walking to go into the carnival. People come off the train, they're ready to go into carnival. So it gets it flowing through there. So people like who come off the train, they like to buy their little soft drinks and buy the thing, and they're going into the carnival.
Yeah. And what about cars?
No cars can't go through there from 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday the 24th. At 6 o'clock in the morning, no vehicles can go through anywhere through Ladbroke Grove or anywhere in the carnival until the 27th of August.
Perfect. I thought that, but I just wanted to double check. Okay, so that's all the questions I've got at the moment. Thank you, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, and now we'll get to Councillor Noor. Do you have any questions?
I have, Chair. Thank you. Well, my first question is, how will you manage queues? We know this road, so people coming to your premises, who want to buy, whether it's lashes or, the other cultural items. How will you manage the queue?
Ba-
Go on, Nathan.
Basically, Abdullah, good afternoon, Abdullah, good morning. Basically, how we will manage the queue is if you look at the picture where the lady is standing on the screen, we will fence one side, we can put our barriers at the front inside so they can walk through and then come out the other end, which will have security on both sides and one security around the area so they can control the traffic. And we've got staff members that can control the people at the same time. And everything is going to be contactless. So they're not with us for like more than 2 seconds because they always want to go. They're in a fast pace. They want to go to the carnival.
Thank you. The other question related to the same topic is, when you are selling slushies, how will you check if somebody want to add their slushies to alcohol? How do you deal with those who are under 18?
No ID. Anybody who comes to buy alcohol has to show ID. Whether they're with their mother or their father, they have to show ID. We don't, with anybody who has to have ID. And if we sell them slush and we sell them the slush and they go. We can't, when they get to carnival, we can't tell what they're going to do, Mr. Abdullah. But we make sure our premises we don't give no under alcohol for any kids because we all got kids. We all got 4 kids. We've got families and stuff. So we don't do that to underage children.
And in terms of your security, I saw somewhere you got 2 security officers for 14 hours.
3.
On the application, it says 3. Can you explain that?
Yeah, because we're getting a GS security. We've got 2, but we on the safe side. Me and my cousin Winter was talking. I think we should definitely get 3. But I was explaining to Winter, but because the premises is so small and nobody's coming behind the garden, we can have 1 security at the side, 1 security at the front. They can control the traffic, and we've got 4, 5. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 members of staff. And 2 can control, so we can work around them because we don't want it overcrowded at the same time for any health and safety purposes.
And
So
sorry, if I could just add as well. Last year, just to reiterate, last year we did have the same event, and last year it was without security, and we had no problems and no trouble. So us adding security this year, it's to kind of make everyone feel comfortable and make everyone feel comfortable that there will be no trouble and that we're doing what we can to
save the community and be safe for everybody.
Thank you. So in terms of selling slushies and alcohol, is it on sale or both on and off sale?
It's on and off sale because we give a lot of stuff to the kids free. We look after the community. We try to look at the most what we can do to help people. We don't extort people and say, oh, there's slush, one slush is £5 or £6. We give slush puppies for £2, some pound, £3, depends on the big one. We give the little kids them for free. Oh, if you was there, Abdullah, and you come with your wife, say, oh, you want to buy a slush, we sell one for you to £3, your wife £3, we give one for your little daughter and your son for free. Oh, do you want a lollipop? Oh, here's a whistle. You can have a whistle as well. Enjoy carnival and God bless you. That's how we communicate with all our people.
Thank you. Well, I'm referring to the sale of alcohol, not what you are giving as a gift or giving to the communities, which is appreciated. So the sale of alcohol, will you be selling on sale or both on and off?
No, because of the tradition. Because of the tradition and the roots of the carnival, if adults come and they say, "Have you got any rum to go in the slush?" Then we say, "Yeah, we can give you a shot of red rum," and we put it in the measure meter, and we give them a 1 shot in the slush. And yeah, that's like if they ask for it, if they look respectable, not somebody who's drunk or look like they're on drugs or they're all over the place. We don't like trouble, so we just try to brush people off very fast as we can to keep the
Thank you.
It's on premises.
Thank you.
Just to round it up.
Okay. Before I start, I see that our lawyer has a question. You probably wanted to clarify the on and off sales.
Yes, I was going to do that. Yes. Sorry, just for the benefit of everybody, the difference between on and off sales, I think you just need off sales. On sales is where people come into your premises and consume the alcohol in your premises. And you're saying that's not happening. You're saying you're just selling the alcohol. Off sales is where you're selling alcohol from the premises for people to drink away from the premises. So you're setting up your bar within your forecourt and you're handing over alcohol to people on the street for them to consume away from flat A. So I think it's actually off sales that you're really after, but I just thought I'd clarify that at this stage. And on and off sales only relate to alcohol, not anything without alcohol.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much for. I never understood that, but thank you very much for
So
sharing.
yeah, so last year when I was making the application, I did speak to someone from the licensing team because I wasn't sure on whether it was on or off alcohol. And they explained to me that it's on and off alcohol, which is why we made the application last year for on and off alcohol, and then this year on and off alcohol. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, it's not fatal. It's not fatal to your application. You just won't be using the on sales element. You'll just be selling off sales. And the other thing to note for future, a temporary event notice can be up to 499 people, and you've put 3 people on your application. I realise you probably mean that in relation to the members of the staff, but that question is really directed to how many customers you're having. So just bear that in mind in future. But again, it's not really critical. We knew what you meant, but yeah, it's temporary event notices up to 499 people. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have some questions now. So you said you may or you are topping it up with 3 security officers?
No, we can top it up with 3 security. Yes, we can do. We can even get 4. We just want to be comfortable and happy and make everybody happy. Yes, so straight away we got 3 straight away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Councillor, last year we didn't have any security.
Right.
So again, we just made the exact same application as we did last year, and we was going to run it how we ran it last year. But this year there have been objections, which we are willing to abide by and willing to make changes to make everybody comfortable. So we would be more than happy to hire the security. I think even 3, like Jason said, 3 or 4, we're more than happy to
Okay. And how do you ID the young people who come to the stand?
Yeah, we do. So I actually used to work in a bar. So in terms of like the rush, in terms of IDing, in terms of checking ID and stuff, I am really familiar with it. We don't have everybody that's going to be there that's going to be selling the alcohol. So it would only be me and Nathan that would be adding the alcohol to the slush, because I think if the other 2, if all 4 of us was to sell the alcohol, I think it would be messy. So last year it was only me and Nathan that was, if anybody needed alcohol, we was doing the ID checks, we were selling the alcohol, so it was only kept to 2 people dealing with the alcohol, and then the other 2 were doing the slush and the flags and the whistles and the ice snow cones.
Right. Now, how many years have you been doing this stand?
We started this stand first about 4 years ago, but we've been in for over 15 years. We've been in Carnival because we had my uncle.
Minus COVID times, by the way.
After because our uncle he had a big stall as well, but he passed away last year, so we won't be doing Carnival this year on Goldbourne Road. He had the biggest stall. He's been doing it for over 35 years. His name was Wenty, and he died last year, and this is the first year in Carnival he won't be having his stall. And he's the one who put us as a family into Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, so we've been, the first time we done it, the police come to us and they said, "Are you selling alcohol?" We said, "We're not selling no alcohol." And then he gave us all the information to do because he liked our stand and we was talking to them, and he gave us the information. And that was just after COVID, and then that's when we got all our licenses, and then we started to do everything professional. And it's only this year now a lot of stuff happening and a lot of changes taking place from what I'm seeing from what's happening in Carnival.
Yes, of course. I mean, you are aware that there are security risks, not specifically to your stand, but in general, it's a high-risk event.
It's a very because anything can happen at any God forbidden time. That's why in Carnival you have to be very alert. You can't get a business. You have to know, because there's a lot of all different types of people from all over the world.
Yes, exactly.
And, Madam Councillor, can I just add as well? Last year we did, like I said, because it's a family-run like event that we're having. Our aim is not just for sales. Our aim is to actually just have fun as well. So because we've got families coming over, so we was taking breaks throughout where we wasn't selling anything, where we were just enjoying ourselves and enjoying the moment. So it wasn't just, you know, just selling from 12 till 7. We did take breaks in between.
Party.
Yeah, so where we was actually enjoying Carnival as well.
Okay. I'm okay. Does the committee have any further questions?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay. I'd now like to have the police ask any questions of the premises users.
No questions, thank you, Chair.
Okay, environmental health?
Yeah, no questions, thank you, Chair.
Okay, our legal officer? Any questions?
Just one quick question. In terms of barriers, are you thinking, I mean, obviously, I don't think it's something the police are keen on, but they'll obviously tell us that in their submission. What kind of barriers are you thinking of? Are you thinking of like chapter 8 barriers? Obviously, they're going to be placed on half the pavement, I think you said. Could you just elaborate on the barriers and how, and will they just stretch in front of your property?
Yeah, they will be, you know, the barrier they stretch in front. I'm going to try to get the specific name of them. They're plastic chain barriers. We've got two. We've got the chain barriers. We've got the the white plastic expandable barrier. We wasn't gonna. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I mean, obviously the police can. I don't think they like obstructions on the highway, but they obviously can say what they've got to say in their bit. But yeah, thank you very much for clarifying that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I will now ask the police, PC Perry, to present your objection, and you'll have a maximum of 10 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of fairness, I have just sent some pictures over to RBKC governance. I wonder if they've been received.
Can I ask what the pictures are of, please? Because obviously we've got to make sure everyone's happy for them to be admitted.
They're pictures of Tavistock Road and the kilowatt sound system. It just basically shows the crowd and the crowd depth and how busy it is.
What's the kilowatt sound system? Is that one nearby?
It's the one on Tavistock Road, junction St Luke's Road.
Right. Are the other parties happy for these to be shared? Wenda, Nathan, Julian.
Can I at the beginning of this conversation, I remember saying there is a sound system. Is the officer, Mr. Perry? Good afternoon, Mr. Perry. Good morning. Yeah,
good morning.
There is a sound system at the top of Tavistock Road. That's why that sound system has been there for over 35 years. And what it is, that sound system is one of the first sound systems in Carnival to turn off during Carnival, because it has to be, all sound system have to be off by 6, but from right it has to be closed by 5:30. The reason why is because that is the exit that people come to Carnival, and that is the exit where people go home.
Nathan, can I just jump in here? You'll get a chance to question PC Perry in a minute after he's done his submission. At this stage, I just want to check if you, Wenta, and Mr. Trill are happy for PC Perry's photos to be shared, because obviously they weren't submitted in advance. Everybody happy? Yeah. Mr.
Yes,
Trill?
I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Governance, could you just quickly show those pictures, please?
Yeah, can I just double check, Peter Perry, were there 3 images or 4?
There were 3 images, yes.
3 images, okay, perfect. I'll pull them up now.
It's just purely for context. Just so the committee is aware, we are now trawling through and trying to get, so when we do submit future objections, we will be submitting pictures as well. So if you can see the picture at the front there, I don't know if you can sort of zoom in, but you can see that's how busy the road is around Kilowatt. So you can see the depths, the number of people who are there, and how busy the road is and how difficult it is for people to make their way through. Could we have the next picture, please? I feel like Mr. Whitty now. Yes, again, as you can see, how busy and how deep it is and how many people there are on the road. And lastly, the last picture, please.
Yeah, but that's I see it, but that's not our.
There we go.
Yes, off
These are all from Kilowatt Sound System and the sort of streets surrounding, and it's just purely to provide context to show how busy the street is, and the reason that the main part of our objection is around public safety. I'd like to just start by saying that I've got nothing against the applicant. You know, they seem perfectly reasonable people. You know, they're clearly adding to Carnival, and this is no reflection on them. It's just a reflection on the risk that we appreciate is there because of the sheer number of people who attend Carnival and a risk to public safety and crime and disorder. I'd also sort of like to start off as well by saying that barriers in the road are on the pavement are of incredible concern to us. One of the things that happens at carnivals, I'm sure you're aware, it's attended by 2 million people, is the planning process is pretty much 365. So the planning process for next carnival will start pretty much straight after this carnival is finished. And all the sort of license bars that go, all the license bars and sound systems and stalls that are set up, they are organised by and agreed by RBK, by the carnival company that run it, by the organisation that runs the carnival. And they have to meet some criteria. They have safety plans, they have risk assessments, they have security. And it's fitted into the dynamic so that we know and the organisers know that they can manage the flow of people, they can manage the risk. Temporary event notices that come along that are outside of that haven't gone through that same rigorous procedure, and they add an element of risk. And the job very much of the responsible authorities is to look at each application on its merits, but judge it in the wider context of the carnival and say, well, what risk is this going to have? And in the case of this application, because it is such a busy area, the risk of having having so many people in one area with a queue forming, with barriers in place, increases the risk of public safety, increases the risk of overcrowding, it increases the risk of making a pinch point of people surges and people suffering injury, please Lord not, but more serious as well, because of the sheer number of people in that area. We're very concerned about the use of barriers because barriers block the footfall, block the flow of people walking through the area, and they offer a sort of like a really exponential risk of these sort of public safety concerns taking place. So we're very against barriers taking place unless they're manned, unless they're properly organised and set down, and we risk assessed it along with the carnival organisers. So we're very concerned about that. The second thing I'd like to point out is that this 10 will not stop the slush being sold. It's only the alcohol element we're talking about here. They will, of course, need a permit for street trading, but that is not being discussed here. That's for a separate part of the council. What we're talking about is managing the risk of having alcohol put into slushies. We say that because it is really close to two sound systems, which is Rapattack and Kilowatt, there will be thousands upon thousands of people, as you can see from the pictures, who will want to get alcohol. The queues are so large, people are going to go to any place they can to get alcohol. If you've got somewhere that's selling alcohol slushies, that's going to be incredibly popular, and that will increase the risk of a queue forming. And we say, if you look at the pictures there, it's almost impossible for 6 security to manage a queue there from building. What if there's an intoxicated person who is refused to serve, who becomes violent? What if the queue spills out or the barriers get moved? What if it creates a pinch point? We say the sheer numbers of people there make it almost impossible for it to be managed, which is why there are no license bars there, because we know that it would be impossible to adapt to manage, and the risk of disorder or the risk of injury taking place is simply too high. Now, I appreciate that they will be selling slushies to kids, and that's absolutely great. That adds to the carnival, it adds to the tradition, and this will not stop that. What we're talking about is stopping the extra demand from people who are at the sound systems who want to buy alcohol. Many of them will have consumed alcohol anyway. Some of them may well have taken drugs. It's as part of society today. If you remove that element of people who want to consume alcohol, then you remove the extra demand and you make it easier for people to flow through. This way, the people will still be able to sell their slushies, but you're reducing the risk of those queues building up. You're reducing the risk of people who are wanting alcohol being there and causing issues. And so our main concern is to say that, yes, this is a part of the carnival, but it has to be taken as part of the wider context of the carnival. And what we're asking you to do is to turn this application for the 10 down so that we remove the alcohol element from it, so that we remove that excess demand, we make the queues smaller and more manageable for the security, we reduce the risk of public order and public injury taking place due to the sheer numbers of people in the street.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start with the committee. Councillor Burns?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of questions. Obviously, they've been running this stall for a number of years, excluding COVID time. Has there been any reported issues or any issues sort of locally to their stall in the past?
Not as far as I'm aware, Councillor. We know that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get reported to the police at Carnival, and we also sort of know that just because something's operated safely previously, there's no guarantee that it'll operate safely in the future. So no, there was nothing in the past, but our concern is very much looking forward and the risks that we've identified.
Yeah. And what would satisfy you? Would there be anything that would satisfy you? Or is it you know, obviously maybe if they don't have barriers, because I see that could be a sort of a blockage or whatever. Would that help? And or is it literally you just don't want them to sell alcohol? That's the only thing that's gonna. What would satisfy you? Does it not help that they're sort of checking IDs and that they have security, or is that not helpful for you?
Security. Thank you, Councillor. I mean, what we're trying to do is to get people through the Carnival as safely as possible, with the least possible risk of crushing incidents or people being bottlenecked or other things taking place or violence taking place. If they have, I don't think, if you look at the pictures, you can see how many people there are on the road. You can see how busy it is with all those sound. I mean, for context, there's 5 sound systems in the area and there's 2 that are really close by. What we're trying to do is to get people through those streets where it's so crowded with the least risk of something happening. If we take away the alcohol, they can still sell the slushies, but it reduces the queue and therefore reduces the risk of something taking place. If you imagine yourself as a security officer or police officer in that crowd trying to manage a queue when there are thousands of people going past, it's almost a Herculean effort. It's almost impossible. And we say this is no reflection on the applicant. It's no reflection on security. It's just an almost impossible job. It increases the risk to a level that is too high. And therefore, there's nothing that the applicant could do to manage that. Certainly, we do not want barriers because that increases the risk of public safety incidents taking place. But we say anything that can be done to minimise that risk, in this case it's removing the alcohol, is something that needs to be done to simply make sure that as many people go through the Carnival without having an undue risk of something happening.
Thank you. And just one more thing, actually in regard to Kilowatt, because on my map it's on the corner, so it's on like St Luke's and Tavistock. So there are other roads that kind of lead off. So although Kilowatt, because of the music, the sound system creates this I don't know what that you call that, gathering.
Yeah.
They the stall in question is number 27, which is sort of halfway down the road. So it's kind of possibly slightly out of the way. So would not the distance kind of give you some kind of ease of concern? Because yes, obviously it is the pathway to the Carnival, but the congestion zone is further down the road and actually not where they are. On my map, on what I've on my you know, in the action pack, it's on the last page, I think, or the second last page 43. So it shows that Kilowatt's in that you know, the crossroads, whereas the building, does that not give you some kind of appeasement, because it is away from, I know there are other things around it, but in that specific strip it is quite far, well, it's halfway down the road. It doesn't.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. If you imagine that crowd there. So because Kilowatt is so busy, it's one of the, as has been said by the applicant, it's one of the oldest and one of the busiest sound systems. But you've also got Rap Attack, which is literally on All Saints Road and a bit further down. And because it's so busy, when people approach, you can't make your way from St Luke's Road up to Tavistock Road. You're literally stuck in St Luke's Road. And likewise, if you're coming to Rap Attack from Tavistock Road, you're stuck at the Tavistock Road end. And if you want to get from Rap Attack, which people do, they go from sound system to sound system. If you want to go from Rap Attack to Kilowatt, you're going to go along Tavistock Road. Likewise, if you want to go to Sir Lloyd, which is just further down, which is the next one down on Tavistock Road, right at the end, that you have groups of hundreds, thousands of people walking between the 3 sound systems. And because there are so few places selling alcohol, anywhere that is selling alcohol is going to attract a crowd. And what we're saying is we need to reduce that crowd to reduce the risk. So still have the slushies. That's, you know, that's not the point here. The point is reducing the excess demand that the alcohol would create. And because that is Tavistock Road literally links 3 very popular sound systems, you're going to have lots of people going between the 3. And because this place sells alcohol, you're going to attract people who are wanting to get alcohol while they're attending or before they attend each of the sound systems. So in a sense, because it's in the middle, it makes it more of a destination, as it were, because it's in between the sound systems.
Okay, right. Thank you. That's all the questions I have at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Noor.
Thank you, Chair. I just got one question for the police, which is related to, I'm sure you have seen their revised plan of the applicant.
Yes, Councillor, I have, yes.
Will that give you address or reduce your concern?
I think looking at Notting Hill Carnival and looking at the pictures. I mean, I've been a police officer for 20 years. I've done Notting Hill Carnival numerous years. There's no way that I or any 5 of my colleagues that I've worked with could manage the queue safely. It's just too many people. It's too many people. It's too crowded. And when something goes wrong, it can snowball and get out of hand very, very quickly. And it could be a minor thing like someone barging into someone else, or a barrier getting pushed into someone, or someone tripping over someone. And then it can snowball. People can become aggressive, especially in crowd situations with crowd dynamics. And what we're saying is that there's no way that you can guarantee that this will be safe. There is just no way of doing it. And the risk is too high. So we're not saying they can't sell the slushies. What we're saying is take away the extra added risk, which is the alcohol element of it. And that will reduce the risk and make it safer. It won't make it safe, but it will make it safer.
Thank you. Chair, I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Perry. With regard to not having alcohol, if they are giving away free slushies without alcohol, don't you think that would be more people would charge over there for the free alcohol?
Yeah,
not the free slushies, because they could have a hip flask.
Absolutely, but we can't stop that. I mean, the 10 is literally to stop the alcohol element of it, and if we can't stop the slushies being sold, but what we can do is stop the extra demand that would come from people who want to put alcohol in there and have if I was out and about in Carnival, I'd like to have a rum slushie on a nice hot day, and I'm sure that there are thousands of other people who'd want to do so, and I'm sure that's why that the applicants have bought all their stock and are able to afford 3 security for 14 hours is because they anticipate making quite a bit of money. So we know there are going to be thousands of people who will want to buy that. And what we're saying is that if you can remove that alcohol element from it and remove that demand, it makes the event safer. We can't stop the non-slushy bit, and obviously they've operated previously without issue that issue. But going forward, we know that the number of stewards, the police are stepping back in terms of stewarding. We know that the risk has increased, and anything we can do to make the carnival safer is what we're trying to do.
Okay, now having looked at the pictures of the stall, do you feel happy with the design of the stall and how they're operating behind the fence, etc.? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it is what it is, so it's iron railings with people putting their hands through. There are risks attached to that, but the main concern I have is that it's almost impossible to manage people just coming up from both sides and joining the back of the queue. People coming up from all sides and swamping the front of it as they want to get their alcohol, they want to get their drinks. And that's why we say it's almost difficult to manage. And just the fact that there hasn't been problems in a couple of previous years doesn't mean there'll be problems going forward this year. And if there is an incident because, someone is intoxicated and gets refused, or there's a push, or there's a fight that starts, it's incredibly difficult for responsible authorities, the police, the ambulance to get there because of the sheer numbers. So again, all we're talking about is removing the alcohol to reduce the level of risk, because that's all this committee can do, is look at the alcohol, see is the risk to public safety too high on a balanced probability. If it is, then we would urge you to remove that alcohol element. The other bits we can't manage, we can't control. What we can do is remove the risk of alcohol and excess demand that creates.
Okay, thank you. Committee, are you happy? We can move on to having the applicant question Mr. Perry?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Mr. Ndima and
Hi.
Ms. Winter and Hines, are you going to ask any questions of the police?
Yeah, I've just got a few points I just want to go through. In terms of dealing with people who are intoxicated, and you said, you know, some people might be taking drugs on that day and stuff like that. Like I said, I've had a previous experience working in bars. Not only working in bars, I actually have a company called Sweet Cavities, which is, again, another family-run business where we do festivals, we do children's parties, adult parties. It's a catering service. So in terms of handling big-scale events, we have got experience handling big-scale events. We have had experience dealing with intoxicated people. Sometimes when people come and they are intoxicated, you could give them a slush for free. They'll think it's got alcohol in it. They'll go away not knowing whether it's got alcohol in it or not. You know, I think it also depends on how you deal with people that are intoxicated. If you've had experience dealing with people that are intoxicated, the patience that you have, and that's all qualities that we've got and we've dealt with before, so we know how to handle that. In terms of big scale and dealing with big crowds, again, that is experience that we've had before. And as busy as in those pictures, as busy as that looks, from my experience of being there, we've never had crowds like that come to us. Not saying that we shouldn't be ready for that, and that's not something we should be prepared for, because we should. That's not an issue we've ever had where it's been so busy where we haven't been able to deal with it. Like I said, we take breaks in between so we can enjoy it. And we don't promote free slush. It's not something that we put signs up for saying, oh, hey, come and get some free slush, because if we do that, we know everyone will be swarming towards us. In terms of the free slush, like Nathan said, if an adult is coming to come buy a slush and they've got a child with them, we know the cost of living, we know how everything's expensive, we know everyone can't afford slush, we know how hot it is, we know that people need drinks, people need to go and enjoy it. So it's just a way of us giving back. And we'll be like, oh, hey, you're buying something, here's a slush for your child. Or if we see kids walking past, hey, would you like to come get free slush? Come and get free slush. It's not something that we'll have signage for where people will be swarming towards us to come and get it. In terms of the barriers, like we said, last year we never had barriers. So we dealt with it fine without barriers. We never had no issues. We did have people that were intoxicated coming to us. We were able to send them away peacefully, happily. There was no problems, no issues. Having security will deter trouble, because, you know, security guards look very scary anyway. So it will deter trouble. The barriers, again, they're going to be so light, so they can be moved if anything does happen, if there is an incident that happens on the other side of the road and there is a big influx of crowd. If anything does happen, the barriers are something that we could just kind of just take off and put them behind where we're standing. The barriers are going to be mandated by the security, so the security guards are going to be standing by the barriers. So it's not going to be something where the crowd could, the people can just come and knock the barriers over. We are going to have the security guards there. Did you want to make a point of something I just said? Or
I can't overemphasize how incredibly dangerous it is to have barriers in the road or on a pavement. If you have barriers there, then they block the flow of people. When you have thousands of people moving, if you just have 2 or 3 people die, it has a ripple effect. And that ripple effect can cause people to be pushed to the side. They can trip over barriers and fall on the floor. And once they fall on the floor, the risk to their health and public safety, their safety is so high. I've seen it myself dealing with football matches. I've seen it myself dealing with carnival previously in other areas. You simply cannot have barriers there, because if they are lightweight barriers, they will get moved by this flow of people. They'll end up, it's like seaweed or flotsam and jetsam on the sea being moved around. And if you've got those things moving around, they will cause injury. No ifs, no buts, they will. And if they're hard barriers, people get pushed against them, can get crushed. And the fact you're mentioning that now gives me real concern, because if you haven't thought about that now, that gives me real cause for concern about how you'll manage the event going forward.
We have thought about it. We have thought of barriers. Like I said, we never had barriers last year. I've dealt with big scales of crowd. I've done Glastonbury before. I've done big festivals before where there haven't been no barriers, and I've been able to manage big crowds. So us having the barriers was to kind of put the police at ease in terms of handling the big crowds. I believe we are able to handle the crowds without the barriers. We've got tickets where we can give them to customers to come and get the slush. But in terms of the barriers, I believe that we can deal with it without the barriers. But the barriers are something that we can implement if it makes the police and people of the committee feel more comfortable.
I think
Okay.
You've got something else you want to? I'm not finished, but you can. Is there anything you want to say, PC Mark?
No, I was waiting for the question. I think in response to that, I would say that I said it's no reflection on you, and you have run it previously. What we're doing is looking at the risk going forward, and the risk from our point of view is simply too high. And we are trying to make sure that everyone is safe as possible at Carnival. We're not stopping you selling your normal slushies. What we're doing is taking away the excess demand. I appreciate the points you've made, but from my opinion, as a police officer, as an expert in public safety, is that the risk is simply too high given the sheer number of people that are going down that street.
Okay. Also to add, the slush, alcohol. Not sure if you're aware, Caribbean, as part of the Caribbean culture, alcohol is quite an influence on it. The rum, hence why we put the rum in the slushes. If you go to any Caribbean country, the cocktails, the rum, it's all included in the culture, which is why we've got Caribbean inspired cocktails to sell. I think as much as I understand what you're saying, and we're willing to make adjustments to help keep everybody safe. Where we've done it for years before and we've had no problems, I
think the trouble is that cocktails and alcohol hit really hard. Someone with 15 or 12 plus years working in nighttime economy in London is that on a hot day, a rum or a vodka slushy is going to affect someone's ability to make decisions and affect their vulnerability and make them more vulnerable far more than sort of like beer or cider will. And especially because they will drink it quite quickly, and it has a big effect on their neurosystem, on the brain, on their decision making abilities. So selling cocktails is kind of like the worst thing to sell because it really does hit people quickly. I appreciate it's part of the culture. I'm not trying to stop anyone having fun. I'm trying to keep people safe.
Yeah, and that is, as much as we're trying to keep people safe, we also want to be safe. We're going to have kids with us, so we also don't want problems. We don't want to do anything that's going to bring issues to us. So as well as keeping the public safe, we need to keep ourselves safe as well. And like my nieces, my nephews, people that are going to be with us.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. You're supposed to be asking the police a question.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just.
You're not the one being asked a question right now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just addressing the points that he was making before, Madam Councillor. Sorry.
Okay, so just ask him a question, or else Nathan might want to ask a question.
Okay, I don't have a question at this point.
Okay.
Mr. Mark Perry, Councillor. Basically, when people come to the people come to the carnival, they already come. Majority of them, they come already intoxicated. We save a lot of people. We give them free water. I've helped people. I've revived a lot of people at the carnival. Yeah, we help them. Sometimes I have to get sugar and put it in the bottle and give them some water, revive them and wash up, because I've saved a lot of life in carnival. Where our road is, I see where the kilowatt sound and other sound is, but what I'm saying, our road is very empty compared to those sounds. They go to the sound, they come to get a drink and go to the sound to listen to music. They bounce around every road to go, they keep moving on. But what I'm saying is, rum in our culture of Jamaica, where I come from, is a culture of carnival, and Trinidad and Tobago. We're not trying to kill people, we're trying to make people happy. If you drink cider, it's very strong. Stella, Red Stripe, all these beers, any alcohol you consume, you will be intoxicated.
I appreciate that, sir. I think that the fact is that rum and beer are usually 3 to 4% ABV, and cocktails and spirits are sort of like in double digits ABV. And I think your point is right. People do come to the carnival intoxicated, and it does change their decision-making abilities. It does make them more vulnerable. But the fact is that we're not stopping you giving away, doing the water thing. We're not stopping you selling the sort of like the alcohol-free slushies. What we're saying is, if you're selling the alcohol, it's going to attract extra people to your stall, which increases the risk of something going wrong. And because it is in a busy area where we've got those sound systems, that increases the risk to a level that we as police, as the experts, are not happy with. It's not our decision to make. It's up to the committee, the council, to make the decision as whether they grant the 10 or not. I'm just expressing the concerns we as police officers having about keeping people safe.
I respect that. I respect that gracefully. And one more thing, Perry, but before we, no, sorry. I just want to say, so Red Stripe is a very famous beer in the carnival.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very famous beer. Would you say that is a beer that we could not sell at Notting Hill Carnival?
No. I mean, there are numerous bars set up, run through the Notting Hill Carnival Corporation who run it, and they're bars and they're set up, they're organised, they're managed. If you've got, and they're carefully placed, so they're not going to cause pinch points. If you've got places that are selling any form of alcohol that create those pinch points, that create the risk of overcrowding, create the risk that we talked about, that's a level that's simply too high. Where if you were doing this in the area that's further away, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't have a problem. But because of where you are in between those sound systems, where it is so busy and the risk is so high, from a police point of view, I've got to put an objection because I have genuine concerns. It's not a reflection on you or your application or what you've done previously. It's my evaluation of the risk going forward.
I put one thing forward, that Kilowatt Sound in front of them, they've got a bar, and the next sound down the road, they've got a bar in front of their sound system.
Yeah.
They've got in front of their sound system where people are for years. They buy their beer and their vodka and their rum and their brandy and their whiskey from that sound in front of their sounds. Our little store is like a little market pitch store.
Yeah.
Not nothing to harm nobody. Our store is like the Red Cross.
I'd like a question, please.
Yes, and I've got a question. I know you said there haven't been no incidents recorded previously on Tavistock Road. In terms of us going ahead, if we did, is what would make you feel comfortable with us selling alcohol? What can we do that would make you feel comfortable in terms of safety and stuff? Is there anything that we could do?
I think
we don't have a lot because alcohol is very expensive as well.
I get that, sir. And to take your question, Rosaria, it's if you look at the bar that Mr. Hines mentioned, the Kilowatt one, that goes through a process where it goes to the carnival organisers. It goes through an independent process to risk assess it, to manage risk, to have queuing things put in place, and the carnival is almost planned around it. Your 10 is not. Your 10 is in a side street that hasn't had that risk assessment. It's not had that independent process to go through. It's not had those rigorous tests put in place. There is nothing you can do that I can think of that would manage the risk. If there was, I'd explain it to you. I'd ask you for it because I'm not trying to stop you making money. What I'm trying to do is keep people safe. If I thought there was anything you could do to manage that risk, I would put it forward and say, could you try this? Because of the sheer number of people there and because of the risk that generates, there is nothing. I don't think there's anything you can do. If you were to put barriers up, that causes another risk that we've talked about. I don't think you could have enough security, or even if you had enough, that they would actually be able to manage a sheer number of people there. And if there is an incident, it can snowball really quickly. So I'm really sorry, but I just don't think there is anything you can do to make it safe.
But Mr. Police Officer, you
Yes.
Question.
2 million people at the carnival, not enough.
Yes, sir.
Not enough police can handle if there was a real outrage. They couldn't even manage 2 million people.
So that is absolutely true, and that's why we say we make the carnival as safe as we can do. We can't guarantee its safety, and that's one of the reasons why we're objecting to these tents, is to try and make it safe. We can only deploy the officers that we can. The carnival can only deploy the stewards that it has. It's about managing the risk with the resources we have, and that's why we're here.
All
Can I
right.
ask one more
Yes.
question, sorry.
Yes.
In terms of 10's notice that have been handed out previously, have there been any incidents recorded?
So this year we've objected to, because of the risks. So after last year's carnival, we sat down. So the carnival is broken down to what's known as sectors. So that each carnival is broken down into one of 5 sectors and their subsectors. And what we did after the carnivals, we sat down with all the sort of senior police officers who were in charge of those subsectors, and we said, what was the risk? And one of the big things that came back was the small pop-up bars that caused sort of like the sort of like streets to become congested, that increases the risk of public order, public safety. So this year, what we've done is, in those areas where we've found the risk to be high, we put objections in because we're trying to manage the risk. And that's in conjunction with the fact that we, as a MPS, are stepping back from the stewarding element and the carnival are having to step up, and that's why there are sort of concerns about the funding for it. And despite the new money that's been put forward by both the councils, the concerns are still there. The Deputy Commissioner raised those a couple of days ago. So it's from last year, our plan has evolved. So where we weren't objecting previously, based on the feedback and the risk, we're objecting this year. So yours is not the only 10 we've objected to. I've been on committees with the council before objecting to other 10s on the same grounds, and that's simply because of the level of risk.
Okay, environmental health, any questions?
No questions, Madam.
Madam Councillor, the question that I asked, I don't think it was answered. I just asked if any of the 10s notice that have previously been submitted, were there any incidents related to like the pop-up shops? Was there anything?
No, so no. So my apologies for not answering questions. So no, as far as your from last year, I'm not aware of any complaints that came in or any crimes that were recorded. But we do know there's a lot of crime and stuff that simply doesn't get reported. It's written off as, oh, this happened at Carnival. And also it's very difficult if someone were to buy a drink at a bar and get assaulted, or a fight take place 10 yards down the road, it wouldn't necessarily be linked back to that premises because it is so crowded. So you're absolutely right. There have been no crimes linked to your premises or recorded against your premises, but that doesn't mean to say that there weren't any. It just means we're not aware of them.
I have a question. Is the anticipation for this year's carnival, are the projections are that you think there will be an increased security risk? Do you think more people will come, or what are you projecting?
We're not aware. I mean, I think if you look at the nighttime economy as a whole, I think you can see that more people are going out, especially in the good weather. And we have in the last, one of my jobs as Central Police Licensing is to look at the crimes that take place all over London. And certainly as the weather's improved, we have seen an uptick in violence and sexual assaults that have taken place, certainly as the weather goes on. And if that carries on, we know that Carnival has high levels of crime. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have no idea of how many people are going to turn up, but certainly based on the evidence we've seen over the last month or so since the weather's improved, we are fearful that there will be, more violent crime taking place.
I see. Okay. So I think, does our legal officer have any questions of PC Perry?
Just one clarification. Earlier on, you said there were 3 sound systems near to this. I think one was kilowatts. I think the other was Rapattack. What was the third one?
Sir Lawrence. Bear with me. I've just logged out my second computer. If you bear with me 2 seconds.
Okay. But so the question was what was the third one? And the pictures you provided, were they all along Tavistock Road?
They were of Kilowatt sound system. So I did a Google search of a Kilowatt sound system, and those were the pictures that came back for that. And obviously you could see Kilowatt in the signs. So the second one is, bear with me a second. It is on Leamington Road Villas, and It is called, if you bear with me a second, Sir Lloyd.
Sir Lloyd. Okay, Sir Lloyd, Rapattack and Kilowatt. And the 3 pictures of Kilowatt. Kilowatt is on Tavistock Road.
Yeah, it's on Tavistock Road, and it's on Tavistock Road and St Luke's Road. So it's sort of like, according to our map, it's sort of like it goes round the corner. So if you look at the bear with me a second.
Are those pictures from last year? Are they from recent, or are they from before?
Yeah, from last year, as far as I'm aware. So Tavistock, it goes on to St Luke's Road. So it starts at Tavistock Road and goes down on St Luke's Road.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to check. Thank you.
What about? I have a question. What about PC Perry? That they are willing to close an hour earlier? Because from my experience at Carnival,
Chair, we can't amend. Chair, we can't amend at the hearing. You can't amend. Any changes have got to be made before the hearing. So you grant for all or nothing.
I see, but they could close earlier if they anticipate
voluntarily
trouble.
They could.
Yeah,
voluntarily they could, but we can't amend the 10 at the hearing.
That's
Okay.
right. It's a straight up grant or refuse, and I think it's under normal situations. If it's a normal 10, you're looking to extend the hours or have something pop up, that would make a difference. But in Carnival, because it's so busy and it peaks and troughs throughout the day, you may be closing an hour early when demand is down anyway. When the real demand is sort of like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it really doesn't add anything or make it safer or take any away from the risk, sadly.
I see. Okay. Yes, Mr. Hines?
But 3-4 o'clock, if we close at 5 o'clock, Carnival closes at 7. People want to come, people want to drink water and all of those stuff. They're going to their house at that time, Mr. PC Perry.
You don't need a license to sell water, sir.
No, you don't know. We're not. I know, but we're thinking about safety of the people and having them. We're having safety. We're talking about safety.
Yeah, and as I said, there's peaks and troughs as people ebb and flow. It's very difficult to predict where people are going to go, where they're going to go, because it depends on the sound system, what their plans are, what various people are playing, and the mood of the people. So what we're saying is taking an hour off doesn't really make any difference at all, because there are surges of people going to and from the carnival. And if you've been to, as you yourself know, sir, from going to carnival, is that sometimes 5 minutes of road will be like an absolute wash of people. You can't move. 20 minutes later, it could be flowing freely again. And you just can't predict when those things are going to happen. And that's the very nature of carnival, which makes it so difficult to manage, which is why we take so much care in the planning process.
One is a busier stand than Kilowatt. Rampage is where all the crime happens, and that's a bigger sound system than Kilowatt sound system. There's loads of other sound systems in Carnival. That's why we're not in Carnival. We're on the outside. St. Luke's that's where Kilowatts is. We're on Tavistock Road.
Tavistock joins St. Luke's, and there are multiple sound systems, and as you've seen from the people, attract thousands of people, and that's why we're here. I'm not having a go. I'm not saying that your venture isn't worthwhile. You're not adding to the experience. I'm certainly not, and we're not stopping you selling slushies. What we're doing, as I said, is take away the extra risk that sale of alcohol adds to that.
Okay, can we now move on to our environmental health officer, Mr. Julian Trill?
Morning, Chair. Good morning, committee.
Good morning.
I think we've essentially covered all of the issues that we, or Mr. Richardson, my colleague, submitted in his representation, and it's we've heard from PC Perry, and we've heard from the applicant's response to that. And I would obviously echo the concerns of PC Perry. I mean, as well as the 3 sound systems we've talked about here, there are a further 2 within, I would say, about 100 meters of this location, the People Sound and Different Strokes sound systems, and it clearly is a very busy area here. It's one of the main thoroughfares to and fro from the underground station, so it's a highly trafficked, dynamic area, lots of people, lots of sound systems. The noise officers within the team report back the difficulties getting around the area, around sector 3. And I think what we're not trying to do here is preserve the status quo. We're not trying to say it was okay last year, nothing happened. What we're trying to do is address the very well publicised concerns about public safety at Carnival, about the dangers that are present and the risks that are present, and just trying to incrementally reduce those risks by looking at each of these temporary event notices that come to us. And seeing where they are and how they're going to manage the risks, and whether we think that they're able to do that. And obviously the applicant has set out what they want to do. They've responded to Mr. Richardson's concerns, but I would obviously echo PC Perry's comments that the sale of alcohol, it's not necessarily become a destination venue, as you know, with a bar, but it's something that's going to attract people more than just a non-alcoholic sales pitch, which we can't do anything about. There are potentially issues of people gathering there, queuing, and whether 2-3 members of staff can control queues and dynamics and any incidents that may arise. I've got my doubts, and PC Perry, who's far more experienced and knowledgeable in this area, has made his point extremely clear on that. So that's why I have absolutely the greatest respect for what the applicant has done here over the years and what they've put forward, and they are public spirited in what they're trying to achieve here in the spirit of Carnival. Public safety is paramount. It's absolutely paramount, and we, without wanting to sort of kibosh their enterprise here, we have to prioritise the licensing objective of the prevention, of public safety, and we have to ensure, even if it's just reducing the risk by 20-30% by taking away those alcohol sales, we have to do that, and we have to object, and we have to try and keep the patrons at Carnival safe, and we believe we can do that by objecting to this temporary event notice, and so that alcohol sales are removed, and it's just a simple slushes. That doesn't mean that there may not be people still queuing, still wanting stuff. There may be people clustered there, but we feel that by taking the alcohol sales away, that does mitigate the risks to some extent, and obviously we'd ask you to take on board these concerns and to reject this temporary event notice.
Thank you very much. Now, Councillor Burns, do you have any questions for Mr. Trill?
No, Chair, I think we've covered everything.
Okay, Councillor Noor?
I have no question, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. And what are your feelings about the barriers, Mr. Trill?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just be repeating PC Perez's objection. So the last thing you really want is any kind of obstruction on the street. We're trying to do that, and it is this real concern, and we've seen video evidence of the past. Somebody trips over, and if there's a big movement of people, it can be extremely dangerous situation if one person trips over, another person does on top of that. So having any kind of obstruction on the Carnival footprint in an area as busy as this is something that we certainly don't want to see, unfortunately. And as has been pointed out, yes, there are other alcohol pitches in the area associated with the sound systems, but they have gone through a rigorous process. They have been looked at well in advance, and their location is known. All the plans are well established and in place. And the risks are sort of better understood from that sense.
Okay, thank you. And do you think it's a little safer because they are serving from behind the fence?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if they had an application to actually have a stall on the pavement, then that would be a much more dangerous, but not necessarily much more dangerous, but a higher risk situation with further obstructions there, and people with access to stock and things like that. There's probably more of a crime and disorder element with which is obviously not my remit here in terms of having a stall on there, but obviously a stall on the street is a very clear obstruction. Barriers less so, but still an obstruction. Even if they are quite lightweight, it's a trip hazard. One person's trips, there's people who have consumed alcohol. It's a very fluid, very dynamic, very busy situation, as you know, and we're just trying to reduce the risk. That's really what we're trying to do. We're not going to eradicate it. It's not a zero risk event like any, but this is particularly in the case of Carnival. It's just trying to incrementally, in these more challenging locations, trying to do what we can to try and mitigate that risk down as far as we can. And we can't stop the slushy sales, the flag sales and things like that, but we can stop it being quite as intensively queued at, perhaps by removing the alcohol sales if we can object to this application.
Thank you very much. Now the applicant, do you have any questions of Mr. Trill?
Madam Councillor, question, it's not really a question. I just want to say, in terms of like risk assessments and stuff, risk assessments, I'm sure you agree, part of making a risk assessment, you look at previous, like something like Carnival, you look at previous incidents that have been recorded, things that have happened in the past to prevent things happening in the future, which is why I did ask PC Perry if there were any incidents recorded previously, and there wasn't. That's why I just wanted to make that clear that
okay, well, we're dealing with your questions now of Mr. Trill. Did you have a question for him?
No.
Okay. Now, the police, do you have any questions for Mr. Trill?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And our legal officer?
If Mr. Trill could just tell me the names of the two other sound systems. I think he said
People
different
sound.
strokes.
Yeah, People Sounds on All Saints roads and different strokes. I think that's St Luke's Road.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Julian, can I ask you one question? Have you ever been
Certainly.
Have you ever been to Notting Hill Carnival before?
Yes, yeah. Only in an enforcement role, sort of 7 or 8 times. I've been there.
Because one thing with Carnival, it's not all bad. It's not all bad, because Carnival's been going on for 54 years, from a lady from Trinidad who started Carnival in London, not in a Carnival. It's not all bad. It's all, obviously you get good and ugly and bad people in every part of the world. We're just trying to do the right thing. That's all we're trying to do, Mr. Julian, and have a nice time and enlighten everybody. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to get people drunk or make them this, or we're just trying to make everybody happy and enjoy Carnival. It comes from our roots. And we can just see everything is just getting washed away.
Let's have a question, please, Nathan.
Sorry, yeah, but just want to thank you very much for your time as well, Mr. Julian.
That's okay. No, I've attended Carnival. I thoroughly enjoyed it, even in enforcement capacity, monitoring sound systems. I enjoy it, and I completely respect what you're intending to do here.
Okay, I'll now turn to the governance team to see if any issues have been raised that we need to consider.
I don't believe so, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. There'll be no summing up, and the committee will then adjourn for a short period to make our decision. We will reconvene to verbally announce the decision today, and it will then be confirmed in writing within 5 working days. The full reasoned decision will be issued as soon as possible thereafter. I would like to remind everyone that the committee has read the papers which comprise the main pack and the additional submissions from the police and Mr. Nadima, so there is no need to repeat their content. Please do draw our attention.
Janet, I think you're
I think
repeating the earlier bit, yeah.
Sorry.
I think you just need to let everybody know how long we're going to adjourn for before you come back and announce their decision. Is it 15 minutes you want to give?
Somebody put that in here. Yeah, so we will be back in 15 minutes. Sorry that.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you all for your submissions.
We're back in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
See everybody at 12.
Evans, thank you very much. She just put on the phone.
I'm waiting for the applicants. I think Wenta has to come back in. And Nathan, are you here?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm still here, Mrs. Evans.
Okay. Here's Wenta and Laura Burns here.
Yes, I'm here, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And our lawyer?
Present, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is Mr. Ndima still on or not? Are you going to take it?
He's online by the looks of
He's
things.
online. Okay. Am I able to start, Holly?
Yes, whenever you're ready, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Environmental health is here. Okay. Hello again. The committee has considered objections from the police and environmental health to a temporary event notice, which has been given by Mr. Innocent Ndima, the premises user, for the sale by retail of alcohol on and off the premises at the above premises on Sunday, 24 August and Monday, 25 August, 2025, between the hours of 12 to 7 o'clock, 19 o'clock, for a maximum number of 3 people at any one time. Now, we said the 3 people is staff, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The committee has considered the committee papers and the submissions made by the parties, both orally and in writing. In reaching the decision, the committee has had to regard the relevant legislation, the Secretary of State's guidance, and the authority's statement of licensing policy. In summary, the committee decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of this case and the prevention of crime and disorder and public nuisance and public safety licensing objections, to issue a counter notice under Section 105 of the Licensing Act 2003 for the event. This notice means permission for the licensable activities requested in the 10 has not been approved. The committee decided that allowing the 10 would be, in this instance, undermine the prevention of crime and disorder, the prevention of public nuisance, and public safety. Licensing objectives, and it determined to issue a counter notice under Section 105 of the Licensing Act. A copy of the reasoned decision will be provided without undue delay. If the premises owner would like to appeal against this decision, such appeal must be made to the magistrate's court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision, but in any event, no later than 5 working days before the start of the proposed temporary event. I thank you all for your very helpful contributions and for your time, and I thank our legal advisor and our officers. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.